Welcome back, my doofus. How's it going? What's it happening? How's it hanging? We are here in a long, tall pillar above Oakfield. We're about to pillar down. Just so you know, this is probably going to be a bit of a shorter episode. I have to leave here in about 2 hours, and I'd like to get all this edited and uploaded before then. I am off to go watch a short film from a production company that actually I applied for a job for, and they haven't actually gotten back to me yet because it was just last week. So this is a pretty important little short film I'm going to. No idea what it's going to be about. It's actually more than one short film. It's like a collection of short films. You know, like a whole bunch of stuff by one director. So anyway, it should be interesting, regardless. And yeah, I'm going to try to see if I can talk to some of the production people about maybe getting a job. So as you can see, it's very important, and I don't want to miss it. So yeah, probably not going to waste too much time here. I am going to cut here, and we'll be right back. I have a cool project today, which won't take up too much of my attention, so I can talk about other things. All right, be right back. Have I shown this to you, by the way, before? This is we're over here on the northwest side of Oakfield County. That's Oakfield County over there. There's my barn over there. Their Border Lake is down there. This little bridge here I built not too long ago, and kind of like its shape. That's the Border Lake over there. And this is part of the ring. This is really what I wanted to show you. See, the ring is going to go out over there and then up, way, way, way back there behind your jungle there. And it comes through here, and it swoops in, and this is the part that goes in across Oakfield. There's the sunflower farm, and it just sort of meanders through this little countryside. The vineyard is going to be on this side, and we'll get to that soon enough, although not today, because there is one thing I have to do before we start that, which actually we're going to do today, which is build the path. Build the path that cuts through it, otherwise I will not know how to start this. And here is the path that is going to cut through it right here, this line of torches. Alright, so I'm going to start doing that while I reflect. I really like your episode, by the way. That's cool. I mean, you're right. Tropico is I'm probably not going to get into it, but it is kind of cool to see you play it. You're a very meticulous player, as always. Start off slow. It's good. I'm joking. Not start off slow, but like like to plan out everything in ahead. Oh God, these guys are gonna get away from. Hang on. It's just gonna be super annoying. There we go. So yeah, no, it was good. Start out, plan everything, just like you like to do it. It was nice. I enjoyed it. Looks like a fun game. I am probably not gonna play it, but so. But you raised some interesting points, and I'd like to come back on some of them. Your question, I believe, was, I'll sort of paraphrase it. Do the systems in place even allow us to implement meaningful change in our society, not just via climate change, but everything else, or what would be the best system to implement, radical social change? And I am gonna go ahead and say that that's sort of a trick question, even if you didn't mean it to be. The reason is the best way to implement social change, or the best systems to do this, are obviously the ones already in place, assuming you can get them to work for you and not against you. And now you might be saying, well, yes, that's my point. It's impossible to get the systems that are currently in place to work for you. But that is where I'm going to have to disagree with you, actually. And it brings me to my point and what I'd like to talk about. So if you'll indulge me a little, I'm gonna rant a little here. I have been doing some research for a movie project, which I would like to get going. It's the one I told you about it's a short film about going down into the depths of a gold mine presumably somewhere in South Africa, very, very deep, miles and miles deep. The kind of mine that it takes you 6 or 7 minutes via an ultra fast elevator just to get down to the bottom of, and then another hour via, pickup truck or whatever going through the tunnels. But in doing research for this project, I have come to do some research about the U.S.'s own involvement in conflict minerals. Now, why should the U.S. trouble itself with this? Well, because simply put, there wouldn't be any such thing as conflict minerals were it not for our first world obsession with status objects such as iPhones and iPads and, well, just smartphones in general. I won't lay the blame all on Apple, but you know what I mean. So it is a problem that the first world should concern itself with. Now, to cut to the chase, we back in 2009 with the crisis, the recession, so to speak. Oh, that's a terrible name for it, but whatever, you know what I mean. We passed a legislation called Dodd-Frank, which you may have heard of. Now, granted, Dodd-Frank was and still continues to be quite ineffective in some key areas. I will be the first to admit that. However, there is a section in Dodd-Frank called, appropriately enough, conflict minerals. And the changes it attempts to implement are interesting, and what's even more interesting is that here we are about 5 years later, and guess what? They have, well, I guess they've worked, but they have more worked than not worked. Put it that way. They have more worked than not worked. And in fact, in the areas where they have worked, they've worked surprisingly well. Let me explain. What they did essentially was realize that it would be impossible to force African countries to self-regulate, if you will, their conflict mineral market, or not market, but conflict mineral industry, for the very simple reason that A, they have little incentive to do so, B, they have little ability to do so. That's really the main point. And C, a lot of these governments change, well, fairly often, to be honest, and it's an open question as to whether they will even be around next week. So, trying to get to work with, for example, the Congo government is not really probably the most cost-effective way. The cost-effective way of dealing with the problem. Now, cut to the chase. Sorry, I said I was cutting to the chase. What they did was they created incentives for companies to self-regulate their own chain of supply. What that means is that Apple, for example, Jesus, sorry for this one. Get out of it! Oh no! Don't kill me! God damn it! Ah. Dude, I'm talking about important stuff here. I'm talking about conflict minerals. I don't have time for your shit. Okay. Oh man, am I really gonna have to bleep all that out? Okay, I guess I will. You never know who may be watching. By the way, while we're on the topic of bleeping out, you need to watch out for your bleeps, because sometimes you bleep out more than you intend to, I think. And it renders some of your sentences a bit incomprehensible. Just a technical note there from an editor. Alright. Man, what was I talking about? Conflict minerals. Yes, so what did Dodd-Frank do? Dodd-Frank created pressure. Sorry, I've been talking for way too long. Dodd-Frank created pressure on companies, first world companies, to regulate their own supply chain. There is no enforcing mechanism, which is genius, because even if they tried to enforce it, they would not be able to do so. What they did... This goes in 2. Sorry, my OCD. Oh wait, this doesn't go here. This goes here. This goes here. That goes there. That goes. Sure. Okay. Right. Companies self-regulate. Now, obviously, there is no way to make them do that, but there doesn't need to be. That's what's genius about it. There doesn't need to be, because all they need to do is make it mandatory for them to publish and to publicize their supply chain of conflict minerals. Therefore, what happens is Apple must now let everybody know where it's getting its conflict minerals from. Does Apple want the whole world to think that they're not doing anything to fight the problem of conflict minerals? Of course they don't. So Apple takes steps to ensure that the minerals that they buy, tungsten and tin and all this fun stuff, and gold especially, all these fun stuff are in fact I'm not even sure it's worth bleeping all this out. They want to make sure that all the minerals that they buy are in fact come from clean sources. That's what I'm trying to get out. They come from clean sources, and it's Apple who does the regulating, which is genius because Apple, it's a huge PR stunt for Apple or Motorola or Google, and it forces the contracting companies to clean up their own supply chain, right? So now the companies that supply the minerals themselves have to pay attention that they do not buy this stuff from the Congo or Eastern Congo especially, from Western Zimbabwe, from all these places that are notorious for conflict minerals. And guess what? It worked. Now the amount of conflict minerals in circulation today has gone down by best estimate up to 60%. 60%. And this is just from 1 year. Well, I mean 3 years, but it only came into effect last year. Right? It's incredible. It's ridiculous. And the best part of it is they not only forced people to stop buying these terrible conflict minerals, but it encouraged the creation of an artisanal industry of conflict-free minerals. Partly through private-owned companies who set up their own mines. Motorola famously did that back in 2011, I think, and a few others, and partly through incentives paid to the various African governments, who will then set up their own sort of private industry, if you will, that would be in place that way. And it is a genius idea, and it works. Why am I telling you all this? And I should really wrap this up because I'm probably going over long. Let me check the time on this. Yeah, I'm going long. I'm telling you this to prove to you that sometimes the system we have in place works. The reason is that the system we have in place, like most systems since the beginning of time, are rooted in the power structures. That exist currently today. What the hell am I doing? They're rooted in the power structures, and the key phrase there, well, not the key phrase, but the key to making it work then is to make the power structures work for you. That's how Dodd-Frank works. Dodd-Frank uses the fact that Apple and Google and Amazon are basically our new overlords. It uses them and it shames them. It publicly shames them into affecting meaningful change. How genius is that? I can't even begin to wrap my mind around how genius an idea Dodd-Frank is. Now, you might be saying to yourself, that's all very well and good. Is that the best way to implement change? To be frank, probably not. Probably not. But I will say this. It works. And not only does it work, but it is already in place to work. If you were to install a new system, say one where private-owned companies would be held way more accountable for their actions, they would have way less influence on our governmental structures. I'm sorry to say so, but that would take ages. That would... Oh my god, I'm terrible at this, I'm sorry. It would take ages. It would take ages, it would take way more political pressure than we currently have today. Yes. It would take way more political will than exists, I think, in the entire United States government to implement such changes. Whereas, smaller changes like Dodd-Frank, hey, it's possible with the system we have today. So, to wrap this up, I'm saying all this, and I'm sorry if I was rambling a little bit. Did try to prepare a little bit, but, it didn't go so well. I say all this because you are an idealist, and you know what? That's great, that's fantastic, we need more idealists in the world. However, being an idealist should not blind you from the ways which we can use the present system to our advantage. Dodd-Frank is just one of them. Believe me, there are others. Um, and, you know, it's all very well and good to wish for a revolution, but how realistic is that really? You know, whereas Dodd-Frank went ahead and made real meaningful change today, this year. I mean, countless lives have been changed for the better in Africa because, you know, and granted, it was solutions to a problem that we created, but it's still solutions to a problem. So, with that in mind, you know, first of all, I would just like to note that Dodd-Frank is actually currently under attack by various lobbying groups, most of whom seem to be working through the Republican Party, although not all. Sorry, that just popped into my head. I remember that because it's true. And but this leads me to my question of the day, which I should really be getting to because this is going on for far longer than I wanted it to. I really gotta get going here. Would you, my dear brother, consider yourself an idealist? Now, I think we both know the answer to that. And would you think that the world could use more idealists, or do you think the world could use more pragmatic legislation like Dodd-Frank? I realize it's a bit of a disingenuous question. Obviously, the answer is both, but I kind of want to get your feeling on, you know, what should the working relationship be between idealists and pragmatists? If I'm saying it right. You know, do they necessarily have to be in conflict with each other? Should the pragmatists go around calling the idealists names and making fun of them, and should the idealists go around, you know, chiding the pragmatists for not having any values? I mean, isn't there a way for these two ways of thinking to get along and get things done? All right, kind of a vague question, but I'm sure you can make it work. I'm actually not going to finish this today because I gotta get work on editing this. So, there you go. I had fun with this episode, even though I built like 50 blocks of this road. God, that's pathetic. Oh man. Okay. Well, anyway, this road is gonna go snaking over there, and then yeah, then this is gonna be the vineyard, Oakfield Vineyard. And by the way, up on that hill there, where those trees are right now, that's where the building is gonna be. The wine making facility. It's gonna be up there. Yeah, and probably there's gonna be a barn on this little hill right here. So, I'm gonna wrap this up here. I think next episode I will be playing Skyrim, probably, and it's probably not gonna be a regular thing. I'm just gonna play out one episode now and then, just for the hell of it. I think next episode will be one such episode. So, with that in mind, have fun playing Tropico. I can't wait to see your next episode, and I will catch you later after I fail once more for the last time. Sigh. Alright. Adios. See ya.